let's try another shot. I don't know if I'm emotionally regulated enough right now to be able to do this, but I'm gonna try. I had the motivation, then Dingo started getting anxious and needing co-regulation when I'm trying to bring out this thing that's very difficult for me to bring out. And yeah, she's tethered further away now. But I want to plant these seeds because it's growing season. It's time for these saplings to sprout. So I'm gonna try again. I am looking to make a sketch introduction as this train screams over me of the fated synergy tree and its 5 distinct philosophies. They are distinct because they can be separated from each other, and each of them do work independently. Hello, train. This is a grand unified field theory of synergetic balance, and a part of it, one of the 5 philosophies, is a theology, an astrotheology. But you need not believe in one of them to believe in the rest of them. You can believe in only one of them and not believe in the rest if you feel like it. If you feel like it. I think 4 of them are easy to describe. So I think I'll just dive into the hardest part, which is the core of all of it. But again, even if you take out this core, the other ones still work independently. There's the fated flower, synergism, fated astrology, the noetic sovereignty mandate, and the reciprocity pill. So I'll start with the fated flower. This is a system that shows the underlying seesaw-like mechanics of the universe, the world, just about everything. It's 6 axes that work again like a seesaw. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And so, when you find where there is a lot of energy, you can deduce where there is a compression of energy, or vice versa. This can be a diagnostic tool for yourself, for your society, for an event in history, geopolitics, relationship dynamics. Its applications are pretty dang far and wide. Pretty dang far and wide. To make it most simple, before the 6 axes of 12 zodiacs, let's just talk about elements. Earth, air, fire, water. The manifestations of these is air is of the intellect, of the mind, learning, communicating. Earth is grounded action, or just groundedness. Chop wood, carry water, to feel your breath, to feel this moment in time, to forget about time. To pet your dog that for some reason needs co-regulation the most when you're trying to do something. Fire is trying to do something. Initiation, courage, confidence, like applying for a job, asking somebody out on a date, starting a YouTube video like this. And then water is of emotions and intuition, spirit, to feel with your heart instead of with your body. Because feeling with your body is more earth. To feel with your heart, feel with your emotions. Whether it's good thoughts or less good thoughts, like anxiety. And so, in all of these, I've color-coded these. Every time that there is fire, it is opposed by earth. Every time that there is air, it is opposed by fire. Oopsie, I just messed up. Now I gotta start all over. Every time that there is water, it is opposed by earth. And when there is air, it is opposed by fire. That's what I meant to say. I'm actually saying every time. Let's forget about that every time. It's confusing. But like, just in this zodiac, it's always contrasted. Purple, blue. Blue. Oh, heck. Did I do this right? No, I did not. Well, that's not going to help. That is not going to help me if I have the color codes wrong. Let me just make sure real quick within myself, just so I can, you know. Okay. Aries, fire. Taurus, earth. Gemini, air. Cancer, water. Red, green, purple, blue. Red, green, purple, blue. Red, green. Did it again. Red, green, purple, blue. Shit! Okay, so what does that even mean? How does water oppose earth? How does air oppose fire? Well, like for me, I have a lot of water and a lot of air constantly flowing through me. Air, mind, thoughts, ideas, like 5 philosophies going through my head. But I also have water flowing through me. Emotions. Emotions not just for myself, but for the collective. Could be the collective suffering. And so, I have this water flowing, and I have this air flowing, and it creates this necessity to create structures that make meaning of this world, of these underlying structures. Since spirit, intuition is water, underlying mechanics of this world. And so, when there is exaltation and compression, you can find from your exaltations, from your super exaltations, most often there's going to be a compression on the opposite side. This is because energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And so, for example, she's my service dog, CPTSD. So, what happens when someone has CPTSD? Like, what does that mean? It means their mind is hypervigilant, scanning for threats, thinking, to keep safe emotions. Well, so when the mind starts running fast and the heart starts beating fast, the emotions can start coming fast too. And so this CPTSD can be an overactive mind creating overactive emotions. And what does it do? It makes somebody ungrounded. Because they have so much exaltation of water, I hope you can see that. Because they have so much exaltation of water, I hope the sun is not reflecting on this board. It probably is. They get a compression of earth, feeling ungrounded because there's so much spirit, so much emotion happening. When someone's mind is running so fast, they are incapacitated to initiate things, to start things. So this is it in its simplest form. Is this seesaw mechanic that is happening here. Filling with water, filling with air. And when we have so much of that, we have less earth and fire. Whereas we can think of other people who are maybe stoic, you know? A stoic person is less connected with their emotions. However, they are quite connected with their earth. They can be more grounded, less panicky, more reliable, I guess. in a timely sort of sense, like reliable to show up to work, or even like if they were, let's talk about entrepreneurs. You can have those types of entrepreneurs that like they get started fire and they keep with the grind set earth, but it can sometimes be frustrating for some of us on the opposite side, because we see those people that are doing the work, doing the action, and they don't often have a very logical, intellectual plan necessarily. They're just do it. I used to be an online fitness coach for travelers. I was calisthenics and corrective exercise oriented. And what started this calisthenics, because I was a personal trainer in the Chicago area before that, was studying National Academy of Sports and Medicine and seeing that the foundation of this staircase worked on your proprioception, your balance, balancing out overactive and underactive muscles. Because for every tight muscle that you have, like in the back of your neck, you're going to have an antagonistic muscle, an opposite muscle, like on the front, that is weak. So start formulating this plan, correcting these things to be able to make the whole body work as a full kinetic chain, which is very focused on like self-myofascial release and stretches and, deliberately exercising the underactive muscles and being careful with the overactive muscles. But I remember that while I was like getting swamped by all of this and getting a little bit of executive dysfunction with it, and just perfectionism making it so hard to really go out there and get a tons of clients, I was seeing how my competitors were, many of them were just like going out there and getting it. But the thing is, they were going straight to the weight machine. They were going straight to, do you want to get strong? Do you want to lose weight? But it was just earth and fire. Fire starting, initiating, earth of consistency. And so they could often be the breadwinners. Because even if there was this sense of perceived incompetence, they were still going. They were still doing the motions. And yeah, maybe as we look at them, we may think that they're disconnected from their heart and their emotions. Maybe they even do things that might be a little morally reprehensible to us. Maybe they're taking advantage of this late stage capitalism. Maybe they don't have a really good intellectual plan necessarily. And like if we were going to them seeking like wisdom, a real plan, a real food plan, an exercise plan, things like that, we can be rather underwhelmed, like we could have just Googled that and gotten the same results. And so when people are hiring these types of coaches, they're really just hiring an accountability coach more than for their intelligence. National Academy of Sports and Medicine is the hardest or at least one of the hardest, last I checked. Dang, I don't have water with me. I'm dehydrated. That sucks. They'll use other certifications instead, like ACE, ACE, which is so easy to get certified in. And I'm like, all right, you're good to go. Or, I mean, you know what I learned when I was working in the Chicago area is you actually don't even need a certificate to get started in being a personal trainer. Bet you didn't know that. But that makes you feel... Anyways, so that is a simplistic form of just using the elements. However, each of these elements can be broken up into 3 within the zodiac wheel. What is the zodiac wheel? The zodiac wheel is, if you look at the sun and follow the path that it takes across the sky, and then you look at nighttime at that exact same path, throughout the course of the night you can see about 10 of the 12 zodiacs, aside from, you know, like where the sun is at, because the sun is blocking that one out. And you'll be able to see these constellations, these 12 constellations. And all of our planets follow that same disk. That same disk that we see the sun take its path, the planets also follow that path. Now, before you think we're getting into astrology, don't worry, you don't need to believe in astrology. You can reject astrology and still understand this, agree with this, such as Carl Jung. Carl Jung worked with the zodiacs of astrology as archetypes, and that's what these are archetypes. There's 3 of each, and they all make a triangle shape. A trine, what it's called. Same with fire, see? Also a trine. And you'll find every time that there's water, opposite, there's air. Every time that there's water, opposite, there's earth. And these 6 axes, 6 seesaws, have a dynamic nature to them. The first axis, 1 and 6, Aries and Libra. Aries is the self. Aries is action. Who am I? Libra is us, like you and I. Amicability. Who are we? How can we get along? Aries, like I do what I want. Libra is like, how can we be amicable? You see how these can have an opposing nature? A selfish person can be really exalted in their rude. I think the air is trying to attack me. And Aries can be really selfish in their actions, whereas a Libra can be a pushover, can be subject to like be easily manipulated or abused or used. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are missing the marker. That's why I put you way over there. For me to record this video, it needs me to compress my air and my water. Because my air will try to perfect all this and try to make it all perfect before I can get started with my fire and initiate. And my water, will get my emotions involved in this will make me have new insights, like new just things coming to me, and then my air will take it and it'll try to work with it, and then I'll just get distracted. As I am now. Oh, he doesn't want to walk anymore. Here, Dingo. So, to get started on this, to initiate my fire, and then to follow through with this video, keep talking and make all of this like actually palatable and useful, I had to compress my air and my water. And I had to restart this video because Dingo was wanting some emotional co-regulation. She was coming up to me consistently, getting in front of this, coming up to me, being anxious. And like that was like pushing me back into my water, pushing me back into my emotions to try to co-regulate with her, or regulate myself while like trying to get her to leave me alone. And then, you know, my mind could get involved, and my mind is like, oh man, this thing's getting ruined, and then, you know, the emotions get involved, and So you see how like this could be a diagnostic tool? The second axis, Taurus and Scorpio. Taurus is stability. Could be financial stability in this world. Could be just groundedness because it's an earth sign. Of just enjoying the food you eat, of feeling your body in the soil, and like just this stability within yourself. Like you don't need somebody else to come rescue you. Scorpio, on the other hand, is, you know, is an opposite in another way. This is, of course, a sketch of things, so I'm not trying to perfectly encapsulate all of them, all of these signs. But Scorpio can be about shared resources, can be about death and rebirth, can be about sexuality, the intimacy of it, the passion of it. And so there could again be this dynamic of like having my money versus relying on like the support of a partner or a family structure or something like that. And again, gotta make this balance. I'm gonna move on, even though I know I could better explain that. Third axis, Gemini, Sagittarius. Gemini is quick movement. It's an air sign. Is new ideas. Is talking. Is local travel. Whereas Sagittarius, the opposite side, is knowing. Instead of thinking, it's knowing. Instead of local travel, it's far travels to something far away. It's a bigger picture. Minute information on this side, a bigger picture on this side. And you could see how this could be applied in many contexts. Maybe someone that has too much Sagittarius and not enough Gemini is very dogmatic. They don't want to take in new information. They think they know the way, and they're refusing to take in new information. Whereas someone, the other side, they could be constantly trying to learn, understand, but they never want to come with a conclusion. They never have the confidence of coming with a conclusion. Fourth is I'm really dehydrated. I should fix that. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. So, where was I? Cancer? This introduction's feeling sloppy to me, but I'm really just trying to start my fire on earth before anything. Even if my mind wants it to be better. Even if my water is getting stressed by feeling like I am diluting this or underselling this. It's okay. I can keep making more videos and try again. So, fourth axis, Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer's water, Capricorn is earth. Cancer is the mother, home, nurturing. Whereas Capricorn is the father, leadership, legacy, building something, structure, building a structure. So, perhaps in the polarity dynamics of parenthood, you can imagine like like if one were to try to lean too hard into their parental roles based on traditional gender, then there could be the mother being like too emotionally coddling, without accountability, like needing accountability. Or the father could be very brute force without some emotional softness and empathy. Yeah. Fourth axis. What the heck? That ain't right. Oh, geez. Six. The sixth axis, Leo and Aquarius. What is my camera doing? So Leo is about like play. As a fire sign, it's about, oh my goodness. What's going on? Fifth axis, there we go, right here. The fifth axis, Leo, is play, creativity, inner child, confidence in yourself, maybe some colorful expression or something. Whereas Aquarius is community, what is best for the collective, revolution, technological advancements such as AI. And so, sorts of imbalances could be like a hedonist. I'm being called by progressive. So progressivism in Aquarius, since that's calling me right now, that could be something that is Aquarius. Let me not freaking mess myself up with that, but like someone that could be too much Aquarius, too much could like refuse someone's individuality. Think of like The Handmaid's Tale, for example. For one to think like there's this global infertility, we need to create this structure to allow for the continuation of our species, and then it strips away the individuality of somebody. Somebody's Leo, somebody's artistic expression. Too much Aquarius can like force conformity or something. But someone with Leo could be a hedonist, just partying relentlessly without ever like any sort of like care for their impact on the collective, or caring about anything that just like really means anything later down the line for anything other than just their joy in that moment. And the last axis, 6, Virgo and Pisces. Virgo, earth sign, is very much that structure of just doing your work, getting that labor in, that consistency in, that chop wood, carry water. To me, it feels like the earthiest of the earth signs in terms of productivity. Whereas Pisces is the hardest to describe of all of it, because it's deep water. It's the subconscious, the unseen, hidden realms. And so somebody with too much Pisces might be a stoner, really falling into escapism to avoid their responsibilities. Someone with too much Virgo and not enough Pisces could be a workaholic, never knowing how to calm down, or like settle down and relax. Just work. All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. All work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. Yeah. Actually, let me not freaking delineate too much here. Like I say, water and air coming in over and over. But if I If I entertain them too much, I'm gonna get derailed. And they don't always just oppose each other, like one side is exalted and the other side is compressed. In fact, there's a third element here, which is resistance. Compression, exaltation, and resistance, but I won't go too much into resistance here. But like, they can be mutually exalted. That can happen. Like, for example, if the third axis, Gemini and Sagittarius, if you are taking in what I am like saying right now, and then it is becoming a part of your greater worldview, you are exalting your Gemini and your Sagittarius at the same time, even though it's the same axis. However, to do that, that would mean that you have to be compressing somewhere else. There's something else that you have to be compressing. So that's exalting your water and your fire. I'm at your air and your fire. So then you could be becoming a little less connected to your water and earth as you are listening to me, taking in this information. A little more analytical than emotional. A little more sit back and contemplating the mysteries behind the manifestations rather than like getting up and doing something right now, you know? Or you might not be listening to me at all. There could be a mutual compression on both sides. You could think, I don't understand what the fuck he's saying, and I don't believe him at all. It could be a just complete compression of it, and maybe there's a compression of that just in your general life. And if that's so, then you might be more in your earth or water. But there's also 3 different signs of each element. So just because you're like not taking in my information doesn't mean anything for the rest of your water or the rest of your fire. Maybe you're not taking in what I'm saying because you're too stubborn in Aries to hear what I have to say or something like that. Or maybe, yeah. And, there's multiple ways to read this. This is just an introductory way. Like, for example, this shows a cycle of life. Like Aries, the first one. Aries, who am I? The second one, Taurus, what's my stability? Third one, Gemini, like what's around me? What is this? Who are you? Fourth, Cancer, like how can I feel safe with you? Emotionally. Fifth, Leo, how can we play? You want to play? Well, no, because the sixth one is Virgo, action, getting the work in. And that's the me houses. The first 6 are the me houses. The upper 6 are the we houses. So 7th, who are we? How can I be amicable with you? How can I balance doing what I want to do and understanding what my mission is, like this stuff, while still having a nice relationship with you? Scorpio, shared resources. How can I start to merge resources and the like with those around me? Start to create a little bit of a community sense so that you are fed and taken care of And what do I get out of it in return? Sagittarius, now that I have all this sort of stuff accumulated within me, then what is a greater worldview understanding that I can formulate? Tenth, Capricorn, now that I have a world understanding and my resources are secured and I have my relationship with my doggo and stuff, how can I start being a leader? How can I start building a legacy? Aquarius, how can I start working for the collective? How can I start doing something greater than myself that helps my society, my village? I've already got it down with my dog. So how can I start, doing something greater for the generations that come after me? And then Pisces, the last one, the hardest one to describe. How do I freaking transcend all of this? What's the spiritual meaning of all of this? Or even just the undoing of it. Like a plant going through death and rebirth. Or just the undoing of it all so that you can go back to Aries all over again. Start all over again. And many other ways. Many other ways. And you know what? I am not satisfied with this demonstration that I just gave. But that is my air and water complaining. So fuck it. Fuck it. Let's move on. Let's build a tree for the fated synergy tree. I swear that I have better drawing skills than this. I swear. But just for the sake of getting this drawing in, I just need to make it. So, in the fated synergy tree, the fated flower is the trunk. You can imagine it being a compass-oriented trunk as well, where the 10th house is facing north, facing that way, whereas like where I'm oriented towards this tree, like 5th house is looking at me. So this is the trunk. If we were to get more advanced, we could talk about the layers of it, like the centermost being the innermost self, the subconscious, and then being able to make layers beyond that. However, totally not necessary. You don't need to make layers on top. Just one is sufficient for plenty of applications. Synergism are the roots beneath. And then let's make 2 branches. Two of the branches are the reciprocity pill and the noetic sovereignty mandate. So, this is the fated flower. So let's talk about the synergism, the roots. Another philosophy, the second philosophy. The belief here is that you are interconnected with the field that is around you. Whether you like it or not, like the symbiosis of the roots, whether it's those types of trees that are interconnected or a sort of fungal network, whatever you want to use for this analogy. I'm going to check myself for ticks. We found a lot of ticks here already. So this means that you are going to be impacted by what's around you, and also changing what's around you will, change what influences are happening to you. There's some places where you prosper more than others. There's some places that don't do well for you at all. There's some relationships that you could be in that bring out the worst in you, and others that bring out the best. Another way to put it is that you cannot find total enlightenment, total centeredness in here, and be able to maintain that without the outer field influencing you. Jesus Christ was crucified. Thich Nhat Hanh spent so much time negotiating in the Vietnamese War, and even one of those monks in Vietnam self-immolated. A monk self-immolated over the catastrophes that were happening. Prophet Muhammad was stoned. What's some other examples? Eckhart Tolle doesn't really want to rock the boat too much. You'll never really see him get too political. He doesn't want to steer away people that might disagree with his beliefs, so he keeps it very much in his philosophy of the power of now. The Buddha helps with this sort of personal enlightenment, but there's still like this copium to it where he's just saying like you can't help everyone. You can't solve all these systems of suffering. So just try your best within yourself. And yeah, it's just like you just like not really able to. They say like if you think that you are spiritually enlightened, then go try to have a dinner with your family, is something people say. If you put yourself in the field of people that disturb you, you will find yourself disturbed. If you put yourself around people that help you, you will find yourself accelerating. But have you ever really found somewhere that really, wholly, in every way is just like good for you? Where there's no compromises? I haven't. I've been traveling this world for years. So that's synergism. One of the branches, noetic sovereignty mandate. This is an intellectual self-protection, I'd call it. it allows you to have a little bit of audacity without allowing yourself to question yourself because of people's audacity policing. It allows yourself to not feel obligated to defend yourself against bad faith arguments or lazy categorizations or if someone were to walk up to you and tell you, I don't think you can flip that tire 10 times. If you know you can, you don't have to do it. And if they say, well, you're just not doing it because you can't. Okay, whatever, dude. Good for you. Or like, if you do it to prove them wrong, when like you knew that like it wasn't going to do anything except prove yourself right, and they're going, oh well, I guess you can, then like, okay, cool, you did it, they say you can do it, but they probably don't even care, they'll just walk off. And then like, what did you get out of that? You tired yourself. Well, you tired yourself. Well, you can do that with these other elements too. If you flip tires, you're going to tire yourself through your earth. But if you're working with fire or water or air, if you're intellectually trying to prove your material, if you're emotionally coddling someone that is needy, these are exhausting. These use energy from you. Your earth is not your only energy. Your intelligence is energy. Your heart is energy. Your fire, your spirit, your initiation is energy. And these are things that are worth protecting. And this noetic sovereignty mandate just allows for you to have a name for it. Just to have the audacity to say that you've made a grand unified field theory, and know if someone says, man, you didn't do that, you're not Einstein. Okay, whatever. I don't see you trying to understand my material. I don't see you really trying to figure it out, so whatever, you know? Go away. Go away. Those who will come. Those who don't will not. You don't have to defend yourself against all that. And you don't have to explain your words, too. You know, we're in days of AI. If you word your things in a way that they are semantically indexed, in a way that AI can explain for others what you mean, then allow yourself to say complex, big boy words like noetic sovereignty mandate. And if someone doesn't understand it, you don't have to explain it to them, even if they really do want to understand. But like, it's lazy if it's in a format like online where they could just Google it themselves. Hey Google, what does noetic sovereignty mandate mean? Or like, you don't have to reinvent the whole wheel every time. If you want to talk about revolution because of Pluto entering Aquarius, and people were like, what do you mean by that? Hey dude, why don't you say, hey Google, what happened last time Pluto entered Aquarius? Which was the like French Revolution, American Revolution, Industrial Revolution, Haiti Revolution, the Age of Enlightenment, etc. And now here Pluto entered in like November, mid-November of last year. Pluto entered Aquarius again for the first time since then. And now like AI is shooting through the roof, and revolutions are happening across the world. Power structures are being challenged and dismantled. You don't have to explain that every single time. With the Noetic sovereignty mandate, you can feel protected with having a word, a branch growing from your belief structure. And so, now that you have that, you can start thinking outside the box. You can start being an individual and start going against the fray. Start thinking of other solutions while still staying balanced. You need to stay balanced while you're doing it at the same time. That's why I think it's pretty important to have this core philosophy of the fated flower going on here, is so that you can check yourself before you wreck yourself. If you're going to have a Noetic sovereignty mandate, then good, but still you need to make sure within yourself that you are balanced, that you are not going too far in one side, too far in Sagittarius, while just being completely turned off to any new information, to ever being challenged by somebody who does it in good faith. So that's 3. 4th one. Oh boy. Reciprocity pill. You've heard of red pill and black pill, I'm sure. For so long, I always wanted to make a new pill that could just be a solution to this shit that we are in. And that's where the reciprocity pill came along. I believe it's a resolution to this gender war. Here in the United States, and much across the globe, there's 2 conflicting belief structures in the gender war. There's the manosphere, which can be very patriarchal. And then there's neoliberal feminism, which can be very matriarchal, maybe even misandric. And so the core problem I see, I'm freaking yelling over trains and highway semis and stuff right now. The core issue I see is that there's this wound. I'm speaking partially on the side of the man, I suppose, here. This is supposed to be mutually beneficial for both sides, the reciprocity pill, but so bear with me, but also at the same time, Noetic sovereignty mandate. I spend so much of my life trying to be amicable and palatable, so allow me for once to speak for myself. The manosphere shows this pain that men go through. And then they use that pain as a justification to exacerbate their, what do you want to call it, corruption. They exacerbate their corruption and their patriarchal views and their fascist pipeline views and misogynistic views, really problematic shit. The manosphere leads people to this because it points out the wound that men go through, like the male loneliness epidemic, they call it. Whereas, how does the neoliberal feminist, how do they respond to the idea of male loneliness epidemic? They laugh at it, they blame men for it. They say that it's their own fault. They created it themselves. So what's happening there? The neoliberal feminist condemns the corruption, but they refuse to acknowledge the wound. So imagine that in the perspective of a man in today's age, that this neoliberal feminism doesn't acknowledge the wound, and so many distractions going on, my God. Doesn't acknowledge the wound and condemns the corruption, whereas the far right points out the wound, coddles the wound, but then blames women for it, and so amplifies the corruption. So, what does this mean? How does a man navigate this? How does a man navigate a life where one side is morally reprehensible to him, but seems to care about his emotional feelings, whereas the side that he wants to be an ally with, is suspicious of him for being a man? And if he tries to point out his pain, then he's even made to be even more suspicious. And he can be used by these neoliberal feminists who want to end the patriarchy but still operate within the capitalist system. He can become a commodity to the woman. And there could be these hypocrisies of courtship entitlement asymmetries, such as these things that a man is not allowed to do anymore because of there being a patriarchy, which rightfully so, yet at the same time is also expected to do things within the patriarchy. Like the man is expected to be the pursuer, the initiator, the hunter of a relationship. Yet at the same time, if his advances are unliked, then he could be vilified. If he is an ally to these women, and then these women do something to hurt him, he's not allowed to express himself. Because if there's pain in a relationship, the collective is more than likely to assume that he is the abuser and not the victim. Of course, this can be expanded on further too, but we are trying to sketch these things just for the sake of me posting them, so that I can say that I did. I can try to better express this information later. Last one, the astral theology. Now a plane? What next? The last one is the astral theology of the fated astrology. This is a prescriptive theology. This is looking at your chart and finding out what your unique mission is in this life. However, it takes actually learning how to read real astrology. Like, when it comes to noetic sovereignty mandate, some people might want to gatekeep such an idea, but the first question I would ask them is, do you know what your North Node is? If they don't, this conversation is already mute. It's already in bad faith. It's already lazy. Or just ill-informed, and that might not be their fault. Chill. No. So, I think that the most important, the first step is not your sun sign, is not your moon sign, is not your ascendant. It is to know your North Node. I think that is the first step in knowing your purpose. Second step is knowing your South Node, which is just opposite of your North Node. Isn't that funny, given this whole balance thing happening here? The third step is to find out what house your nodal axis is in. How do you find out what house your nodal axis is in? By knowing exactly what minute you were born. And I mean exactly. When I first looked at my chart, my mom told me what my birth time was, and she was off by a few minutes, and it screwed everything up. It had my son in a different house. My son is just on the cusp of the 12th house in Cancer. And it had my nodal axis messed up. You gotta look at your birth certificate and find out exactly what minute you were born. I had to buy my birth certificate in my later years. It was for other purposes, for citizenship identification purposes, but I found out my exact birth time, and it was a few minutes off, and just making that correction of a few minutes made everything come together way cleaner. And then after that is just to piece together all the other planetary placements. And what you'll find, as I have read hundreds of people's charts over the years, and each time, some people even cried, feeling so validated from the information that I gave them that they are on their path. But there was only one time that someone didn't resonate so much with what I was saying, and we spent hours. This was in Istanbul, Turkey. We spent hours. I was trying to figure out, because I had never seen someone not resonate with it so much. And then it turned out we got our birth information wrong. It was an hour off. And we fixed it, and suddenly everything was coming together. But what you'll find with your placements is that each of them will explain who you have been throughout your early life, maybe where you are even now. The younger you are, the more so that is to be likely. Who you are destined to become, like the direction that you are meant to go, and you will, and also many of those placements show like the resistance, why it's challenging to get there, or what blessings you have that will help you get there, or what gifts you have that will become so valuable once you get there, to that place that you are headed, to that north node. And we'll even tell you in what flavors or ways to go to that direction that you're going, to get more and more and more specific and get a deeper understanding of yourself. And what I found every time that I read someone's chart was not that they were like, oh, so that is what my placements are, so that means that I need to focus on this instead? No, usually, especially the older that they are, usually what they would find is that it is already telling them the life story that they've already been living. Whether or not you believe in it, the leaves are still photosynthesizing. The astrotheology, fated astrology leaves are still there, photosynthesizing. Whether or not you believe in God, let's say God is the sun, whether or not you believe in him, it's still there. Even if you keep your eyes shut, God is still there. I'm an omnist, by the way. I believe all religions contain the truth, but none of them contain the sole truth. I don't think that this contradicts any of it at all. So, that is my sketch of this. The fated flower, a seesaw-like mechanics of synergetic balance and imbalance, so that you can see where you or something else is, so that you can be more informed before you start making interventions or aspirations, or just have some clarity on your goals. Synergism that shows that this is more than just individual responsibility. Your collective field is going to shape and impact you, whether you like it or not. And even if you isolate yourself, you will become deprived of some things. So, noetic sovereignty mandate, so that you have the audacity to believe in such a fringe thing. I guess you could call this New Age. And be able to start building your own lexicon. The reciprocity pill, so that instead of having this internal tug of war of wanting to do what's morally right, but being continuously beckoned to become something worse than yourself, which I think is potentially a psyop, conquer and divide, instead of us focusing on the class war that is really happening. The rich elite, they have us distracted fighting each other in these dumb little culture wars. So instead of all that, you can understand that what is most important is reciprocity. And you can begin to point out what is hypocritical or unfair to you to having a equally Libra amicable relationship while still protecting your Aries sovereignty. And I could do that with the rest of these axes, but I think I will just end it here. Ta-da! Okay. Okay. I think we did it, Dingo. I think we did it. Now I can unclip you. And you're free! You're free! Yeah! Woo-hoo-hoo! Woo! Yeah! Yeah! Woo-hoo! Alright. Let's get some Mexican food. You want some Mex? Yeah! High five! High five! Yeah! Okay, I'll make a better video later, but this is it. If you're eager enough that you've watched all of this, thanks for that. Appreciate it. But I am not fixated on that right now. I just wanted to do it. I just wanted to release it. I just wanted to release it so that I can start learning how to initiate my fire and my earth instead of constantly being in my air and water of expanding. I cannot even express to you just how little I have actually shared in this video, and just how much I'm like actually really unsatisfied with the explanation that I made of every single one of these philosophies. But I freaking did it, and I know that in order to exalt my earth and exalt my fire, I need to compress my water and air. And when we are driving in the snow and we're not used to it, we can start overcorrecting, you know? We can start fishtailing, panicking, because we don't know how to get just that smooth operator of, like, keeping ourselves balanced. So, the goal is not to, like, just not try to correct it all because you think that you're going to overcorrect. The goal is to just try to overcorrect a little less next time. So I will try to overcorrect a little less next time and try to keep my air and water involved just a little bit more next time so that I can more eloquently bring this across. Maybe I can get into editing and having a plan so that I'm not just like releasing all of this in one big shot like this. But this is my bridge. This is my bridge from the spirit universe of the underlying structure of the world to the physical. Hope you enjoyed.